Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm joined by Patrick, co-founder of Reclaim. We want to talk a little bit about all the things we've been working on for 2025, some exciting things that are in the works, that are coming out soon. Answer any questions. We have the Q&A open if you want to drop any product questions, roadmap questions in there, and we'll get to those as well. And I'm going to hand it over to Patrick and let's see what the Reclaim team's been working on. Some exciting stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you everyone for tuning in now or in the future if you're watching on YouTube, where we will be posting all this stuff as usual online. Lots of wealth of videos and knowledge on our YouTube channel, so check it out. Yeah, so as Elizabeth said, we've got a lot that is coming, and also a lot that is been released in the last few weeks. So we're off to a really good start this 2025, including a brand new, really awesome capability that we haven't even announced yet. And so this is like our first place we're going to announce it. And so that's kind of exciting, a little sneak peek, and it's available to everybody. I am going to kind of walk us through a number of things, but I will also encourage, if you're live here, you are welcome to just ask questions. I may not immediately respond to them, but I am seeing them, and either I will address it at the right time, or Elizabeth will chime in and remind me. But we'll make sure that we get those things covered as well. It may just be that that topic is like coming around the corner in the discussion. Okay, so let's start with some of the smaller capabilities that have come out in the last few weeks. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. One moment here. All right. So what we're looking at is one of my demo accounts. This is not my actual calendar. I wish it were this clean and simple. I'm sure you all wish your calendar was clean and simple like this too. Um, the thing I want to highlight here is the first thing I want to highlight is shareable habits. So many of you come to Reclaim because you believe in the power of time blocking and intentionality with your calendar. And I'm betting a lot of you believe in it so much that you advocate for that practice, whether you're using Reclaim or not, to your friends and family as they also struggle with staying on top of all the things in their life. Well, now there's a new way for you to advocate for that, and that is in the form of sharing your habits. And so I'm going to click over to habits, and you may have all known that we have things like templates that you could draw from, and we picked lots of templates across lots of different roles. You can search for them. So, for example, status reports or planning. I think we have like meal preps and various other kinds of preps. So there's all sorts of fun templates in here that work at different frequencies and have different fun emojis and just kind of help you be more intentional. But now we have the ability to, if you haven't seen this, this actually came out a little before this next thing I'm going to highlight, to create templates. And so these templates are basically things that you want your colleagues who you might invite to your team to also see when they go through onboarding. This looks like your kind of standard calendar or habit creation form, although there's a few things that are missing. Some of the things like the scheduling hours, it's not going to show your custom scheduling hours because this is meant to be for your team. So it uses the three standard ones: working, meeting, and personal hours, and also uses one-off hours, for example. But what happens is when you invite someone to your team after you've created these habit templates, then you can encourage those team members as they join your team to see those templates. So, for example, let me just do a quick one here. I'm just going to say, I want to make sure that everybody who joins my Reclaim team sees morning catch up as a recommended template. So now on any sign up, if I go over here and invite my team, like so, and so I could add members to my team. And if I invite someone, when they sign up, they're going to be actively encouraged the morning catch up habit, as well as any other team templates that I've created. And if they don't pick them during onboarding, they're also going to see them when they come back over here to habits. Under the template section, they'll see these promoted at the top. And so these could be ones that we've already made templates for, our standard ones that are down below, or they could be ones unique to your business or unique to the challenges of your team. And so that's a wonderful, nice improvement. if you haven't seen that already. But one of the other nice things we do is it doesn't always have to be in the form of bringing people over into your team. If they're on your team, they got to be part of your paid subscription. That might be a little more of a formal relationship than you're ready to take on. Maybe you just want to gently encourage them to sign up for their own free Reclaim account and set up a lunch break. If a friend of yours or a family member saying, I never get lunch for work, it might be as simple as coming in and giving them a little bit of a lunch break and sharing that template. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click over here and oops, sorry, click right here, this little share button. So this is a new feature that we've got, and you can share whichever habit you're interested in sharing, and just copy this link, post it to Twitter, copy it over to LinkedIn, however you want to share it over email or other vectors. And what happens is this is just inviting them to set up their own Reclaim account. But when they do that, they'll get that habit specifically activated and set up for them. And this is a really easy way for you to onboard and recommend some simple time management capabilities for people that you want to share Reclaim to. So it's a nice tool, and it doesn't require the kind of formal overhead of like team templates and onboarding into your team. It's just your standard share Reclaim. You can find it either by coming to the habit that you want to share or coming over to our share reclaim feature, and you'll see the same option here as well. You don't have to, when you're sharing reclaim, include one of your habits, but if you do, you'll see this option. Okay, so that's a nice little improvement that we've got with sharing habits. And I will move on to the next one, unless there's anything you wanted to add, Elizabeth, that I missed.
No, I just think the share habits one is great. We've had templates for a while, which are shareable as well, which are sort of customizable but preset by us. The great thing with sharing your habits is that you can share your completely custom habit. So if you made a habit from scratch for something really particular that just totally redefines your work week and productivity, you can now share that exact personalized template with your family, friends, coworkers, communities, whatever that might be. So I think that's a really powerful one.
Great. All right. Now let's jump over to a nice improvement we made. It's actually one of our most popular improvements. Actually, I'm going to cover two. The two of our most popular feature requests that we addressed in the last few weeks related to tasks. The first one is a really simple one, but very well received by users who cared about this topic, and that is the topic of emojis. Emojis are a somewhat controversial topic. Some people love them. Some people, we've heard them described as you've turned my calendar into a clown car. And so, we know they're controversial. You don't have to have emojis for everything here. So if you didn't know it, you can come over to settings, scheduling, and you can configure the emojis. And until a few weeks ago, that configuration was only for habits and smart meetings. But now there's a new option, task progress, and it also applies to tasks. And so what that means is if you don't want to see, say, the shield busy emoji or the free time free emoji for your tasks as they're scheduled on your calendar, you can deselect these items, and that will be applied to your tasks on the calendar within a few seconds. So it's a nice, small little improvement, but we were committed to bringing these controls to the whole platform. We had started last year with habits and smart meetings. We've now expanded it to tasks, and you can see we do intend to do it for more things in the future. And if you want, you can come over here and click this button and see some fun confetti if you'd like. It's very exciting. This used to say tasks, and it was very fun to remove the word tasks from here and move it up here as we keep shipping and improving the platform. So yeah, that's just a nice little improvement. And again, if you weren't aware, you can also customize if it's at the end of the title or before the title. Small little pro tip: if you have a car that has CarPlay support and you like seeing your calendar on your car as you're driving so that you can make sure you're not missing a meeting. Sometime, but you also like the emojis. You might have found that the emoji takes like an unnecessarily large space on the CarPlay display. Put it after the title, and then you'll see more of the details of the event in that space in your car. So small little thing that is nice as well. Okay, the next one I want to highlight was also a really popular feature request, and that can be found over here under settings, tasks. and it's control over this concept we have called cooldown. So cooldown is this feature that gives you a certain amount of time between the events that get scheduled for the same task. So the idea behind this, I'll give you a quick demo. I'm going to set this to 1 hour to start. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say large task X. I'm going to schedule it at for 10 hours. Whoop. And then I'm going to make large task Y and also schedule that for 10 hours. And both of these are able to be split up. And what we will see when I do that is that we will find, there we go, it's starting to schedule in there. A large task X. There we go. So you can see that there's some breaks that start to form. Large task X, large task Y, and that 1 hour gap. Oh, I'm realizing I think I have another feature active that's kind of contending here. I was testing some things out. I'm just going to go ahead and move that around, and I'll make a third one. Large task Z. We'll do one more. Uh, There we go. So what we're going to see here is some, I call it zebra striping, sort of interleaving breaks. We know the human mind can kind of only do the same thing for so long before they need to switch it up and do something else. And so what you'll see here as the schedule kind of works its way out, there we go. I got rid of all those little buffers and breaks. As you can see that Reclaim is saying, cool, why don't you do X and then do a little Y and then do some X and do Y and do X and do Y and so on and so forth. And then eventually you're done with X and it's moving on to Z, and you'll see Z and Y spreading around, and then finally it's done with all of them. That's kind of our default behavior. And if you go into your settings, that's probably what you're going to see as well, is that there's a 1 hour cooldown. But we've heard from people that they don't always love that capability. Sometimes they want their particular style is not to break it up multiple times in the day, but actually have just a minimum amount of time that is spent on an individual task, especially these larger tasks, and spread it out over the days. And so we've given you more control here. You can see 30 minutes, 1, 2, 4 hours. 4 is a nice way to kind of create larger breaks, but still potentially spend time on the same thing a couple times a day. And then there's all the way to limit one event per day, which probably is the one that we know people were most interested in. And so if you go ahead and schedule that, we'll see here in a moment, this will reschedule and spread these large tasks out in a very different scheduling model that reflects that desire to just chip away a little bit every day and then kind of not worry about that particular task for the rest of the day. So I think our scheduler takes a minute when you make those settings change. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of force the scheduler to run by putting an event on the calendar, and I'll come back here in a second. This is a nice setting to play with if you want to fine tune how tasks get scheduled on your calendar. One thing to note, and we call it here as well, call it out here as well, is that up next tasks. And as a reminder, up next tasks are the ones that are in this little drop zone bucket or can be sent to up next. Up next is a special area in the product that basically treats the task regardless of priority, regardless of the schedule after time, and regardless of cooldown settings. It will aggressively schedule that task as soon as possible. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. But here we can see the scheduler has updated, and now you can see X, Y, and Z get kind of chipped away equally across the board, and they're all getting done kind of on the same day because of that. So nice different behavior you can play with. And then just to really highlight that up next behavior and how cooldowns and other features don't matter for up next. You'll see here now that I've dragged that up. We should see the schedule change. Give it a moment. Let's see here. There we go. It's working through it. And now you can see X, 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 X. So we should see this one move in just a moment. Oh, it's contending with both of those. All right. So yeah, just a reminder of how that plays out. Is up next will not respect those cooldowns, and that is intentional. You should use up next for stuff you really want to be kind of singularly focused on, and it usually should be like a small list of things. So there we go. Now that schedule has worked itself out. Elizabeth, anything you want to add about those two capabilities?
No, I personally love the once a day work. That's kind of that worked really well for mine. And one thing that I love, especially with if you haven't noticed, I think we talked about it in our November founders webinar with these manual start and stop task scheduling and
Mhm.
habits. We're really, I think, building out the product to work for different kinds of people in different ways people are productive. And I think this really speaks to that as well. Some people only want to work on one task once a day, as opposed to breaking it up, over multiple blocks. And now there's a lot more customization there. So another good one, especially for me as a user too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. All right. Well, I'm going to delete these tasks just so they're kind of out of the way as I continue through the rest of the demo here. And I think the next one we're going to talk about is, yeah, I'm gonna kind of thematically I should talk about focus time, but I'm gonna skip that for a second because it's kind of a sneak preview. But I'll just nod it, note it right now. Some of you may see this menu over here on the left side. It's looking a little different than what you're experiencing, and there's this interesting little beta here. We're gonna check that out last, but it's relevant to some of the habit and task discussions we've just been having because it's, of course, as you can see, thematically oriented around time blocking. But I want to switch gears for a second and talk about some of the meeting improvements that we just made. And I mentioned at the top of this webinar that we're going to highlight a feature that we haven't even announced yet, and so now I'm going to announce it to you. And that is the ability to create scheduling links with other people that involve the availability and booking of other people's calendars without needing them to be part of your Reclaim team or even a member of Reclaim, having a Reclaim account at all. And it's really cool because what it means is that you can get more value out of your scheduling links. You do not have to. Of course, we'd love it if you want to invite them to your team and have one paid account, but you don't have to do that anymore if you want to have a team scheduling link with multiple people. So a good example of this is maybe if you're in sales and you want to bring a solutions engineer along with you to meet to that customer meeting, and they might not have a Reclaim account yet, or they might have one, but it might not be in your Reclaim account. And now you don't have to figure out how to kind of roll up the billing and figure out how to get everybody in the same team. We think there'll be plenty of reasons. We've got lots of stuff planned for 2025 for you to still want to do that um, in some cases, but we didn't want scheduling links to be some sort of forcing function for that. We wanted it to be something that's like universally useful and in this case unique. I'm not aware of any other booking link product that has this capability where you can stand up group or collective links with all your coworkers or even not your coworkers. I'll show you a demo in a second. Um, and not have to pay for additional seats for them. So it's a really nice value improvement to the product. So let me show you how that works. So if you've played with our scheduling links feature before, you have probably seen this section where you can add team members to your scheduling link. And when you do this, there are two ways you can do it. You can see we have a round robin feature. This is something we released last year, where it'll pick any of those people. And then you can also do kind of what we call co-organizers, where all of those people are required to attend the meeting. And so in the sales case, like a sales rep and a solutions engineer, both of them probably want to be on the call with the customer that we're sharing the link to. And so the way this works is you can see now we no longer say just add a team member. We also say or any email address. And so I want to highlight this by well, adding myself. So this is a demo account for a fictitious person named Hal, and I'm going to go ahead and add Patrick at Reclaim.ai. And you will see that this person, me, is not a team member. We saw that earlier that I didn't have anyone in my team. And yet I can make them part of my scheduling link. And now this scheduling link will automatically consider my availability, the HAL users, and also Patrick's availability. And whoever receives the link will automatically get meetings booked with both of us. And so it's a really nice improvement. But there's one more thing that we can do that we're really excited about, and that is you can even do it for people who are not even a Reclaim user. And so I'm going to show you a fictitious example. I don't have a family member named Mary, but let's just pretend that there is someone named Mary Lightbody that I want to invite to this meeting. And Mary is not a Reclaim user. In fact, Mary's not even a real person, but I set up this account. And Mary has shared her calendar availability, just the free busy, to how. That's all that's needed. Now, if I had a typo or I or Mary hadn't shared that and I put a different email address in, we'll highlight this. We do this with smart meetings, and we now do it here, and we give you some guidance on what they can do about that. They can share the calendar link, they can sign up for Reclaim, or you can invite them to your team. But if they do have calendar availability shared to you, and in particular to your Google account that is being used to organize this. And so something else you can do, if you weren't aware, is you can connect multiple Google accounts and soon Microsoft accounts to your Reclaim account, and you can schedule smart meetings and scheduling links from any one of those. And so we'll consider which one you pick here, and that's the one we'll look for calendar sharing. So in this case, Mary has shared her free busy capability, her free busy availability to Hal. And now we have a link that considers Mary's schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and um, uh, show you a, let's see, sales demo with Mary and Hal. So I'm going to go ahead and create this scheduling link and just show you kind of how that works. And so I'm going to copy this, open it up in a new tab. And what we will see here is if I pick tomorrow, 12 o'clock is the earliest slot. But if we go look at Hal's calendar, we can see Hal's wide open, actually, lots of availability tomorrow. So what's going on? Well, it turns out that Mary, you can't see it here, but Mary has an out of office block on her calendar that marks her as busy until 12 o'clock. And just to show you how this works in real time, I'm going to go ahead. You can't see this because I'm opening it up in uh, an incognito tab, but I'm going to go ahead and log into Mary's calendar and I thought I had this open earlier. Apologies. It'll just take 1 second. And change that availability to instead of 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. out of the office, I'm going to make it till 2 p.m. And so now, as soon as someone's clicking around here, now you can see 2 o'clock. So it's real time. It's instantly checking all the availability APIs for Google and Microsoft in for those that are in our beta. And of course, Hal is still wide open that whole day, but Mary is not. And so just highlights the power of scheduling links and the ability for us to make you more effective, even when people are not a Reclaim user. We hope this will, help you show up even better at work and in your personal life, and streamline your life a lot in terms of meeting coordination. All right. Now we're ready for, I think, Elizabeth, our last one, unless there's anything you wanted to add about this particular feature.
No, let's do it. Focus.
Okay, great. And I haven't seen any questions come in yet, but let me know if I missed anything. All right, let's talk about focus. So I'm going to pin this now so that we can kind of see this. So yes, I noted that our menu and our navigation has changed a little bit. Actually, even before I touch that, for those of you who've been a user with us for a while, you may have also seen these things have changed a few times in the last few months. And not a surprise, it's kind of all related. We're doing some rethinking about how we want to organize the product and get ready for the next round of features coming in 2025. And so the menus here kind of give you a hint of what's to come. There's actually even more than what you're seeing here. Focus is the one we're ready to talk about today. But our settings, we think they've simplified them greatly. We've made it more obvious how you can get to your billing, which features apply to just your teams, your Reclaim team, things like that. And here on the left side, you can see we've now organized our kind of two major sections of product, the time blocking features and the smart meetings. So this will be coming out to all of you. And we'll be able to hope you'll be able to hopefully benefit from the improved usability that comes with it. So even before I get into focus, you can see we thematically really see habits, tasks, and even these buffer settings as capabilities that are all related to the job of blocking out time on your calendar to ensure that you have enough time to focus on what matters most to you. Um, this focus feature that we'll be introducing in the coming weeks and making available to all of you is just another way to help you do that job of protecting your time, and in particular, your time as you're in the office and trying to get heads down work done. And the way it works is it's like a simplified tool to not have you need to go create lots of habits for example. Some of you, I'm guessing, already do that, where you've created lots of intentional habits, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you might just want an easy button to just say, look, I don't need to carve out every little detail about my day. I just need 10 to 20 hours a week of heads down time and not getting pulled into too many meetings. And so, for example, I can drag this little slider. I'll start with, let's do 15 hours. There we go. And we will see here in a moment that my calendar is going to get filled up. Look at that. It's super fast. That's actually amazingly fast. My calendar is now filled with additional time blocks broken up into multiple pieces. This is one bit of feedback we've heard from our customers is that they wish habits could be broken up into pieces. And often the reason they wanted that is for use cases like this, being able to chip away on intentional heads down time multiple times a day. And so now we can do that. And you'll also notice that we actually scheduled these meetings using the focus time capability natively in Google Calendar. If you're on Google Enterprise and you have that capability, we haven't built this part yet, but we will probably give you the ability to automatically decline meetings if they land there as well, and to really lean into the capability that Google already provides, but by automating it. There's a couple other things I want to highlight here. One is just like the rest of Reclaim, where you can drag and move things around, we want you to feel in control. And we want you to feel like you can dictate your week at any moment and it should feel natural. And so you might look at this schedule next week and say, yeah, that looks fine. But actually, I was planning on doing a lot of my focus right at on Friday. And so I'm going to go ahead and block out a good amount of focus time on Friday. Now I'm creating these by hand. They look a lot like these other ones. I guess the T is slightly different. But what you'll see here in a moment is Reclaim is not only scheduling times on the calendar, but it's also considering your goal of wanting 15 hours of focus time each week. And it's looking holistically at your calendar. And so it's going to see that there's already some time blocked out on Friday, and it's going to adapt to that accordingly. It also will take into consideration intentional tasks and habits. So if you already have a whole bunch of habits blocking out time on your calendar, you might not get any new focus time, and that's okay. That just means you're getting the focus time you need in a very intentional way. But if there are weeks where you didn't have that opportunity to create the tasks or the habits that you wanted, but you still want to make sure you're getting enough time blocked out, focus is going to help you protect that time. So this is just a sneak peek of a lot of really good stuff that's coming around time blocking. And then we will have more on the meetings topic later this year to share as well. All right. I think that covers it. Elizabeth, again, you can have final word on this or any other capabilities that we've demonstrated here.
No, I'm super excited for Focus. I know a lot of people have been requesting features like this, and it'll be coming really soon. So that's an exciting one. Um, I don't see any questions coming in. If you do have any, drop them in. We'll spend the last couple minutes answering any questions. Otherwise, Patrick, I thought we could finish on an update on the Outlook beta for everyone watching on YouTube who inevitably has that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mentioned in this webinar a few times that Outlook is coming, and that is true. I know a lot of folks are hungry for it. We've got tons of people on the wait list. Folks are dropping in every day asking, and frankly, I wish it was already out. The truth is that it's hard. Microsoft is a very different beast than Google, but we are really close. We've got hundreds, if not now thousands, of active private beta users that have been giving us a ton of feedback for the last few months. We hit some pretty tricky technical issues last fall, and that kind of caused a bit of a delay in the project. But we feel really good about where things are. Doesn't mean the bugs aren't still out there, but we are ironing a lot of them out. And we've developed all sorts of systems to deal with the kind of unpredictable nature of the Microsoft Outlook platform. And we believe that we should be opening it up to a public beta in hopefully the next few weeks, if not the next month or so. And so, hang in there. and reach out to us. If you want to participate in that private beta, if you have the need for Outlook now and you're okay with some of the issues we've highlighted on our release notes, reach out to us and we're happy to get you on board right away. Hundreds, like I said, hundreds or maybe even now thousands of people are already doing that. And it's a really nice capability, especially for those that live in a kind of a hybrid model where they use Google for their home stuff and use Microsoft at work, and they want to be able to kind of unify all of their time management. Okay. We did get one question that just came in, so great timing because I think we're just about to wrap up. And it's a question about like, what are we doing around meeting agenda workflows and pre-meeting prep? All right. Well, you've managed to sneak. I was being very vague about it, but we are focusing on focus right now, which is part of our time blocking section. But you can see we're breaking out our nav around meetings as well, and you can probably imagine that more things might appear here in the near future. And some of those things are absolutely around workflows that help people better prepare for their meetings, better do the post meeting work of capturing action items and agendas for the next meeting if it's a recurring meeting, sharing feedback about the quality of the meeting, understanding the costs of meetings, and in particular, recurring meetings. There's a lot of work that we're excited to be doing. And we do think the first area of improvement will be around meeting prep and also um, some form of workflow that's really around kind of weekly self-reflections and status reporting, which couple tightly with both time blocking and meetings around intentionality and looking forward at what's coming in the next few days or the next week, and making sure that you've got the time to be prepared for any meeting you're participating in or leading, and that you're achieving the goals that you want to set out to do on a weekly basis. So we think there's a lot of opportunity to bring you into a very kind of purpose-built workflow around planning out your week in advance and working through the priorities of all the tasks and habits and time blocking and meetings that are on your calendar, and making sure that you're prepared and ready to show up in the best possible way. So stay tuned on that. That'll be later this year, but we do think there's a lot of really exciting stuff coming there.
Awesome.
Okay. Well,
It
thank you
looks
so
like,
much, everyone.
yeah. Oh, we got one more
Oh,
question.
one
Patrick,
more.
do you have
All
time
right.
to take it in? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. The question is, sometimes I want my lunch habit to overlap with webinars right now. But is there a way to make Reclaim recognize that? Yes, there is. There is a feature, a little tag. We could probably make this, I'm going to share my screen again just to briefly show this. So the question is there a way to have a meeting on the calendar, but also have Reclaim schedule things on top of it? And there's two ways to do it. One way is literally to create the meeting or set the meeting as free time. So, for example, I could say, I might have something on my calendar called webinar next week and just set it as free. And when you do that, Reclaim will automatically respect that free time and schedule it for you. Now, the problem with that is that time's going to show up as free. And so someone else might book a meeting at that time. And between a webinar and lunch, I'm guessing your hands will be full and you don't want to be seen as free for any more meetings at that time. And so this is where the fun little feature comes in. And so what you can also do is you can mark it as busy so that you will appear as busy to anyone else, colleagues who are looking at your calendar, people who are using your scheduling links. And you can just add this little hashtag, reclaim free. I will note this is a little confusing because the word busy is here and then it says reclaim free. I think we're probably going to rename this in the near future and call it like Reclaim Focus or something along those lines. But you just pop that little hashtag in there. And even though it's now busy, it will still be seen as free for scheduling focus time, habits, and tasks. So take advantage of that feature. Cool thing is it also works on the not only the description and the title, but on your RSVP notes. And so you can find in Google when you reply yes or no, you can also add a little description. So even if you're invited to a meeting, like perhaps this webinar, you can't edit the original thing, you can just put a little hashtag reclaim free into the RSVP comment, and that will do the job as well. Thanks for asking that question. It's a great one.
And we actually have lots of other hashtags I just dropped in the chat. I'll link it in the YouTube description as well. But there's a lot of other neat hashtag features you can use on your calendar as well. Awesome. Any last words, Patrick?
No, we're really excited. It's been a wonderful journey. We've been working on Reclaim now for coming on 6 years, and we are in our first year of being part of Dropbox. And I hope you can all see we are not slowing down at all. We've got a lot of great stuff coming that we just shipped, and a lot more in the near future. And again, the Outlook stuff is right around the corner. So please be ready for that. And if you want access now, I think we can get you going.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us today and walking through some of the exciting things coming up soon. Thank you to everyone who joined live and asked great questions. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, this video will be on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, here we are. If you have any other questions about any of these features, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll get to them. As Patrick mentioned, you can reach out to support@Reclaim.ai if you do want to get on the early beta list for Outlook, if you do feel like giving feedback and working through the state that it's in now. So thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend ahead, and we will see you next month for the March Founders webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.